Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel, Inside My Holes, where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own struggles, having borderline personality disorder, having post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and panic attacks. I talk about depression, narcissism, and my narcissistic abusive mother, schizophrenia, my schizophrenic father who was in and out of mental hospitals all my life. I talk about my unethical psychologist who sexually abused me, all the different types of therapies I've been in, and a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology, so I cannot diagnose you or give you a professional opinion. All I ask in turn of you is your kindness in the comments. Please be kind and respectful to me and other people who comment. We don't need to agree on everything, but we do need to agree on showing each other respect and kindness always. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button on the lower right-hand corner because it's 100% free, and that way you will always be notified when a new video of mine comes up. If you like what you see, give it a thumbs up. Today's topic of discussion is going to be, have you ever been guilt-tripped? Now, I've been guilt-tripped most of all my life. It started when I was a young girl. I was raised Catholic and went to all-girl Catholic schools overrun by nuns. Religion, especially the Catholic religion, and I can talk from experience because I grew up Catholic, guilt trips people all the time. Of course, they have the 10 Commandments and they have confession. And anything you do, if you tell a white lie, you have to go every week and tell this man in a robe, this priest, your confessions, what you did. Father, I have sinned. It's been 1 week since my last confession. And you tell them, confess all the bad things you did. But not only that, I was brought up to taught, even if you thought something, okay, it was a sin. And if you sinned, you will go to hell when you die. This is what they instilled in little children. And what is hell? You'll meet the devil with a big pitchfork, and you're going to burn in all this fire and flames. You're going to burn alive, and you're going to be in this deep abysmal hole, this hell hole with fire and pitchforks, and you're going to be tortured, and hung up. So even if you thought something, which they taught you, just thinking something, right, is a sin. If you're married and you think of another man, are attracted to another man, and even think of just kissing him, or think of what it would be like to have sex with him. Just thinking now, you don't do anything. That's a sin. Just to even have the thought is a sin. And you're going to be damned when you die. You're going to hell, and you're going to be damned for the rest of your life. And this is guilt tripping, This is instilling fear. And this, first of all, this video is not going to be about religion. I just wanted to tell you how I was guilt tripped. Religion should not be about guilt tripping, okay? Religion to me is about what your personal beliefs are, not about guilt tripping you to act accordingly in a certain way. But parents guilt trip their children all the time. My mother, who was narcissistic, and if you look at my other videos, you'll see how she guilt tripped me. She made me feel bad. She made me feel responsible for even being alive. Can you imagine that? Guilt tripping your child. Have you ever had a parent say to you, I didn't want you, That's how I was raised as a little girl. she didn't want to have me. My father was the one in charge of the birth control. My father used condoms, and he was the one who said, I want to have a child, you know. And my mother didn't want to have me. My mother was self-centered, narcissistic. She didn't want to have to, you know, take away the center of attention on, you know, and put it on a child, because children require 24/7 care, little babies. So my father said, I'm not using condoms anymore. And that was what they, you know, that was the only form of birth control they used. And he said, it's a time now we had a child. My mother said she didn't even want a daughter. She wanted to have a son. And she told me she didn't want to stay with my father, but she had to now because I came along. You know, it was all my responsibility that she had to stay with my dad. So she guilt-tripped me for even existing. Can you believe that? She made me feel bad for being alive, because if I wasn't alive, she could leave my dad. That's exactly what she said. It's all my fault. If you weren't here, if I didn't have you, then I wouldn't have to stay with your father. Because back in those days, it's much harder to find a place when you're a single mom, you know, because you have a child. And then children cost a lot of money. My mother didn't even have any. She had an 8th grade education. That's all she had. My father had a degree in accounting from Bentley College, which is a pretty good college, if you've ever heard of Bentley. My mother didn't even go to high school. So you can't even get a job at McDonald's without a high school diploma. I don't think so. I don't think you can get a job anywhere without a high school diploma. I think, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the minimum requirement on any job is at least a high school education. I mean, do you know, or the equivalent, whatever your GTD, whatever your, you know, that test they give you. If you didn't finish high school, you can take that test and get the equivalency of a high school diploma, something like that. So that's the worst kind of guilt tripping there possibly can be. Don't you think, that feeling guilty that you were even born, that you even exist? And all growing up, because of my Catholic upbringing, you know, I got married because I wanted to have sex. It was instilled in me by my mother, who used to call me a slut when I was a little girl. She called me a whore and a slut. When I was a little girl, a virgin, never kissed a boy. You slut, you whore. You better not have sex until you're married. Get that diamond on your finger. So, in order not to be a slut or a whore, like Mommy called me, I got married at only 22 to the first boyfriend, the first guy I ever dated, because I didn't want to be a slut or a whore. And that's what she called me. Anyone who has sex outside of marriage is a slut and a whore. And, you know, you're going to get a reputation, like you'll have a big W or S, slut, a big W on your chest. You know, everyone will, you know, look down on you. You're going to be, she said, you'll be the disgrace of the neighborhood. This is what she said to me. You're going to be the disgrace of the neighborhood. Don't come to me if you get pregnant. I don't want nothing to do with you. This is what she said. So, in order, you know, guilt tripping me. This is all guilt tripping. This is the whole topic of this video. She was guilt tripping me. So what could I do? I had to get married. I didn't want to be the talk of the neighborhood. I didn't want to disgrace her. I didn't want to feel shamed every time I walked out my door. People would think I'm a slut or a whore. She called me these names even before I even kissed a boy. Even before anything, she instilled in me, drilled in me that I had to get married in order to have sex. So I married at 22, very, very young, to the first boy who came, even though he's a wonderful husband. But I never dated. I never chewed my wild oats. I never did anything. And eventually I did cheat on my husband because of it, because, I was forced into this belief that I was a whore. Guilt tripping. It's all guilt tripping. That's my traumatic childhood, my upbringing. And in the schools, they enforce that because I was raised in Catholic schools. They enforce the same guilt tripping that my mother did, that you had to be married. There is no sex outside of marriage. Nothing. You don't do anything outside of marriage. You might kiss like a peck or something, but you don't do anything until you are officially wed. And you only think of your husband, no other man. You see how crazy that is? And of course, you never have sex, so you never can get an abortion because you never have sex. They just drill and drill and drill this and guilt trip you. And, I've been guilt tripped all my life. Think about women, okay, who have children and go to work. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. How many times, if you're a mother, if you're a mother out there, have you ever been guilt tripped that you should not work, that you should stay home and raise your own kids? Why you bother having kids and let someone else raise them and someone else take care of them? Or a lot of people can do the opposite and guilt trip you, and you're not contributing anything to the family. The husband might guilt trip you. Either way, the husband might guilt trip you that you should stay home and take care of your own children, or he might guilt trip you and say you need to go back to work. This family can't function on just my salary. So, and then you might feel guilty going back to work, leaving your children. So I think no matter what you do, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, and you feel guilt tripped. You can't feel okay with whatever decision that you make, And a lot of mothers struggle with this because they've been guilt tripped. Guilt tripped by their parents, guilt tripped by their husbands, guilt tripped by society, or maybe guilt tripped by their friends. If you're a stay-at-home mom and you have a friend who works, you might be looked down on. And either way, the friend that works might guilt trip you that, what do you're not, you're just sitting home changing diapers, changing shit all day. Is that what you are? Is that what you amount to? Or you might guilt trip your friend, not even meaning to, who's working, like, oh, I'm taking care of my children. I'm raising my children. I'm spending quality time. I'm not missing out on all the milestones. Well, you're working all day, and then you come home after work and you're tired. And how much energy after you come home and have to make dinner do you really have to invest in your children? You might make your working friend feel guilty. You might not even meaning to guilt trip her. But society does this to us, We're raised, our parents raise us like this. The school, the community, the public does this to us, guilt trips us. That's why I thought it was very important to do this video about guilt tripping. Now, I'm at the age where I no longer am guilt tripped into anything. But it's not wise to make decisions because you feel guilty, all right? You shouldn't get married because you feel guilty you're a slut if you have sex before marriage, all right? You shouldn't stay home if you really want to work because you feel guilt-tripped by society, friends, maybe your parents, your spouse, that, you know what, look at you. You have children and you just dump them in a daycare. You shouldn't make decisions based on guilt. That's what I'm trying to say to you. You shouldn't let other people guilt trip you. Yes, I have been guilt tripped. I have made the wrong decisions based on guilt. And it's ruined my life. So we shouldn't allow other people to influence us in any manner. We should make decisions based on what's right for us. And, Who cares if they think I'm a slut? If I have intimate relationships with men before I'm married? Who cares if, I go to work and I leave my child or children in a daycare center to fulfill, my needs to be useful out in the community, to, hold down a job. See what I'm saying? A lot. What about aging parents? Here's another thing. How many of you have aging parents that guilt trip you? Oh, I don't drive. I can't drive. I need someone to, to take me to the grocery store. I can't drive anymore. I have cataracts and, I can't see. I need you to take me to the grocery. I need you to take me here. Oh, I'm too sick. I need you to clean my house. How many of you who have aging parents are guilt-tripped by your parents? Or, I don't have enough money off my Social Security for groceries. I need another couple of $100 this week. Like over and over again. Okay, it's okay to help your parents out. This video isn't about, shunning people who want to help their parents out. Or about religion or about anything like that. But you know what I'm talking about, right? The ones who are guilt-tripped by their parents. Their elderly parents that say, oh, I am too sick and old. I need you to take me here. What about friends? They'll do the same thing. Oh, I don't drive. I don't have a car. Can you please take me here? One subscriber said in a recent comment that their friend didn't drive. And they wanted their friend to drive them to their boyfriends for, I think, to give the boyfriend some money they owed or something like that. And they made their friend who drove them wait an hour in the car. You see what I'm saying? They guilt trip them. Oh, I don't have a car. How can I do my groceries? I need to go to the doctors, honey. Calling your daughter or your son. I can't drive with the cataracts, or I can't see, and I need someone to take me to the doctors. And then what do? You don't have a life. You're a servant to your aging parents. You're at home. You have children. And, you feel guilty about not spending enough time in taking care of your children. You feel guilty about not spending enough time in taking care of your parents. The sandwich generation. And then where's the time left over for you? There is no time left over for you. So stop. Tell them Sandra Wyllie, inside my hole. Sandra Lee Wyllie told you. No more guilt tripping, okay? Don't make decisions based on guilt. You've got to think of yourself, all right? We've already talked about people pleasing, all right? We already talked about empaths. But so now this needs to be put out there. We can't let people guilt trip us. It starts from at a very young age. It's like ingrained in our head or something. And all through life, even when we're adults, even when we have our own families, we're still being guilt tripped. Well, my parents are dead, and I have no friends, and my husband pretty much supports me on anything I do. So, and I don't let religion get in my way anymore. I don't see myself as any religion, My son is an atheist. My husband is Protestant. I grew up Catholic, but it doesn't define me. No, I don't let any one thing define me. I am a multifaceted person. I am a poet. I am a writer. I am a video streamer. I am a creative person. I paint. I do multiple things. I am a mother, but I don't let any one role define me. And I'm never going to let anyone guilt trip me. I'm going to make my own decisions in my life now and in my future based solely on what's in my best interest. What's in my best interest. And I don't care what anyone else thinks, and I don't care what anyone else says. And I hope that you do the same too. All right, let me know in the comments what you think, if you've ever been guilt-tripped, how you felt, what it was like for you, and let's have an ongoing discussion. If you want me to talk about anything, let me know that too in the comments below. Remember, respect